Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling some really fascinating, maybe even unsettling concepts. Things like, those unexplained drone sightings, whispers of hidden agendas, and these chilling ideas about mind control or even holographic deception.
It's definitely a deep dive into some murky waters.
Exactly. We're going to try and separate the science from, the speculation. And honestly, sometimes the truth is stranger, or maybe just more complicated than the fiction.
That's right. Our mission here is to really unpack two concepts that get tangled up a lot. The high-frequency active auroral research program, that's HAARP, and the infamous Project Bluebeam theory.
Right.
And we'll also explore the real science behind things like mind control and holographic tech, which is fascinating and sometimes, unsettling in its own right.
So the goal is to cut through the noise, look at the facts, and kind of explore the theories around them so you can be really well informed.
Precisely, to give you the tools to think critically about it all.
Before we plunge into the depths of these fascinating topics, though, just a quick heartfelt note to you, our incredible listeners. If the thrill of uncovering hidden truths and connecting the seemingly unconnected, if that sparks joy in your soul, then remember to like, share, and subscribe to the All Sorts podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, your support really does fuel our quest for knowledge. It allows us to bring these deep dives to life.
And for those who've already joined our curious community, honestly, thank you. You are the guiding stars of our journey.
Absolutely. And for more mind-expanding conversations, definitely check out our other podcasts and follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads.
Together, let's keep illuminating the unseen corners of our world. Okay, let's unpack this. Starting with HAARP. It sounds pretty intense, like something straight out of a sci-fi thriller. What actually is HAARP in the real world?
Yeah, it does sound a bit dramatic, doesn't it? But it's actually a real research program. It's run by the University of Alaska Fairbanks. HAARP stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. And its main focus is researching the ionosphere that's the highest part of Earth's atmosphere, the ionized part. It's really important for things like radio communication.
And what was its original purpose? Was it always just civilian research, or did it start differently?
Well, initially, its purpose was really to analyze the ionosphere and investigate ways to develop ionospheric enhancement technology, things for radio comms and surveillance.
Surveillance.
Yeah. Construction started way back in 1993, and the main instrument, the IRI, Ionospheric Research Instrument, that was finished in 2007. It started as a joint project, actually, funded by the U.S. Air Force, the Navy, the University of Alaska Fairbanks, and even DARPA.
DARPA, too. Interesting.
Yeah. By 2008, it had cost around $250 million in tax money for construction and running it. But since 2015, the University of Alaska Fairbanks runs it completely. They make the facilities available to researchers, on a pay-per-use basis.
So that initial joint military funding, that probably raised some eyebrows.
Yeah.
Right. Any specific reason for that military interest beyond just basic science?
That's a good question. The military was interested because the ionosphere directly affects long-range radio signals and radar. Vital stuff for defense. Understanding it, maybe even influencing it slightly, could offer advantages in surveillance and communication, especially during conflicts.
Makes sense. So this isn't just a small lab setup then. It's pretty big. Give us a sense of the scale.
Oh, yeah, it's massive. Think of it like a huge field covered in antennas, 180 of them arranged in a big grid covering about 14 hectares. That's maybe 35 acres. Near Gakona, Alaska.
Wow.
And this whole setup, the IRI, it's basically a very powerful radio transmitter. It sends a 3.6 megawatt signal up into the ionosphere in the HF band.
3.6 megawatts sounds like a lot.
It is for a transmitter. But here's the crucial part. The actual intensity of that signal in the ionosphere is tiny, less than 3 microwatts per square centimeter. It's literally tens of thousands of times weaker than the electromagnetic radiation we get from the sun constantly.
Okay, got it. So putting that in perspective, HAARP's signal is like a tiny whisper compared to nature's roar.
Exactly. Precisely. It's powerful for its specific scientific job, like a very focused beam, but totally insignificant on a planetary scale.
So what can it actually do? What's the research?
Well, its capabilities are pretty interesting, all based on known physics. It can generate very low frequency, VLF, and extremely low frequency, ELF, radio waves down to like 0.1 hertz. It does this by gently heating a part of the ionosphere called the auroral electrojet.
The auroral electrojet? What is that exactly? Sounds cool.
It is cool. It's basically a natural, strong electric current flowing way up there in the ionosphere. It's part of what causes the auroras, the northern lights. HAARP just slightly warms up tiny patches of it to study how it behaves, not, control the weather down here.
Okay. What else?
It can also create something called artificial air glow. Usually it's too faint to see without special instruments, but sometimes under just the right conditions, it might be visible briefly.
It can make the sky glow. Okay, I can see how that might feed into some theories. How do scientists handle that potential for misinterpretation?
That's definitely a challenge and why they've tried to be more transparent lately. Another thing it can do is create little high-density plasma clouds way up high. Researchers are looking at whether these could act like artificial mirrors for bouncing radar or communication signals off of.
And the more practical uses.
Yeah, definitely. Research aims to improve GPS accuracy, which relies on signals passing through the ionosphere, and also to advance submarine communication, which is notoriously difficult. So real-world stuff, too.
Right. So we have this big facility doing specific ionospheric science, but it's become this magnet for conspiracy theories. What's the disconnect? Why HAARP?
It's a great question. I think part of it is, well, the science is complex, right? Invisible radio waves, the upper atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's not intuitive. Combine that with the initial military funding, maybe a perception of secrecy early on.
Yeah, that combo is potent.
Exactly. It creates fertile ground for speculation. People often look for simple causes, for big, scary events, and this powerful, maybe mysterious-seeming machine becomes an easy scapegoat.
And some of the claims are just out there. What kind of things do people blame HAARP for?
Oh, it's a long list. Weather manipulation is huge floods, hurricanes, droughts, even earthquakes, like the recent ones in Turkey and Syria in 2023, HAARP got blamed.
Earthquakes, really?
Yep, and major power outages. There was even that instance in January 2024 where a far-right conspiracy theorist, Laura Loomer, claimed Nikki Haley used HAARP to create a blizzard in Iowa during the campaign.
A blizzard? Wow, okay. What else? Beyond weather.
Well, there are claims of mind control capabilities, that it downed TW Flight 800, caused Gulf War syndrome, chronic fatigue, even those weird low-frequency hums some people report hearing.
Mind control, too. It covers everything.
Pretty much. A Russian military journal even speculated it could, and I quote, trigger a cascade of electrons that could flip Earth's magnetic poles.
Flip the poles, okay.
And yeah, whenever there's a big aurora display, like in May and October 2024, when they were visible really far south, you see claims online that HAARP did it.
So what's the scientific consensus on all this? Is any of it even remotely plausible?
Scientists are very clear. These claims are well outside the abilities of the facility. Often, they're outside the scope of known physics, period. Professor Umrayan Inan from Stanford put it well. HAARP's power is minuscule compared with the power of a lightning flash.
And lightning happens constantly.
All the time, 50 to 100 flashes every second, somewhere on Earth. HAARP's effect is just far too small and localized to cause global events like hurricanes or earthquakes.
It's important to stress, though, that these theories, however outlandish, can have real dangerous consequences, can't they?
Absolutely. That's the worrying part. Like in 2016, 2 men from Georgia were arrested. They were apparently planning a domestic terrorism attack to destroy HAARP.
Why?
They believed, according to reports, that God told them to go and blow this machine up that kept souls so souls could be released. It shows how deeply these ideas can embed, regardless of scientific fact.
That's terrifying.
It is, and partly in response to these persistent claims and to try and be more open, the University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute, which runs HAARP now, started holding annual open houses back in 2016, so people can actually visit.
That seems like a good step. Okay, so we've unpacked HAARP. But if HAARP sounds like science fiction, Project Bluebeam takes it to a whole new level, right? It often gets mixed up with HAARP in these theories. What is Project Bluebeam? Where did it come from?
Right, they often get linked. Project Bluebeam, or PBB, is this really infamous conspiracy theory from the 1990s. It was proposed by a Canadian journalist named Serge Monist.
And the core idea?
The core claim is pretty dramatic, that some shadowy global elite group plans to fake a massive event like an alien invasion or maybe a divine appearance using super advanced holographic technology.
To what end? Why fake an alien invasion?
According to the theory, the goal is to scare or awe humanity into accepting a new world order, to basically destroy all traditional religions and replace them with a single new global one. Creating mass hysteria is supposedly part of the plan.
And Monist himself, didn't he die under mysterious circumstances?
He did. He died in 1996, officially of a heart attack. But for believers in the theory, his death just added fuel to the fire. They suspect he was silenced for revealing the plan.
It's fascinating how these older theories just keep resurfacing, often attaching themselves to current events. Has Blue Beam been in the news recently, maybe tied to those drone sightings?
It absolutely has, quite significantly. Since mid-November 2024, there have been these waves of unexplained drone sightings, particularly over New Jersey and New York, and Project Blue Beam immediately surged as an explanation online.
How so?
Well, there was an anonymous Reddit post from someone claiming to be a longtime radar operator. They linked these drones to covert U.S. Space Force drills, suggesting some kind of big show might be coming.
And didn't some prominent figures jump on this?
Yes. President-elect Donald Trump mentioned it on Truth Social, calling for government action on the drones. And people like Roseanne Barr and Alex Jones actively promoted the Blue Beam connection on X, which gave it huge visibility.
Okay, so according to the original theory by Monist, how is this supposed to unfold? Are there stages?
Monist laid out 4 alleged stages. The first one involves basically messing with archaeology, reevaluating archaeological knowledge.
Wow.
Through artificial earthquakes, and here's a link back to HAARP, allegedly that unearth new discoveries. These finds are supposedly designed to fundamentally discredit the major world religions, making people doubt everything they believe.
Any examples often cited?
Göbekli Tepe in Turkey is often mentioned. It's this incredibly ancient site, much older than Stonehenge, with complex structures. The theory suggests finds like this are used to rewrite history and undermine religious foundations.
Okay, stage 1. Shake people's faith through fake discoveries. What's stage 2?
Stage 2 is the big one, the space show. This is where the holograms come in. Massive, sophisticated light shows projected into the sky all over the world.
Projecting what?
Religious figures, maybe alien spacecraft, tailored to different cultures. So you might see one figure in one part of the world, another somewhere else. This new image of God, as the theory calls it, would then supposedly speak in all languages, announcing a new single world religion, a single currency, a single ideology, the New World Order, basically.
Whoa, that's ambitious. Any supposed proof offered for this stage?
Adherents often point to an alleged, unverified plan from 1991 to project the face of Allah over Baghdad during the Gulf War as evidence that this kind of tech exists or was considered.
So, giant holograms delivering a unified message. Star Wars, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, on a global scale.
Pretty much, yeah, that's the idea. It capitalizes on spectacle and, maybe preys on religious or extraterrestrial beliefs.
With stage 3, it gets darker.
Stage 3 moves into telepathic communication. The theory claims advanced technology using ELF, VLF, and LF waves again, sometimes linked to HAARP or satellites, will broadcast messages directly into people's minds.
Like voice-to-skull tech.
Exactly, voice-to-skull. Influencing thoughts, creating what Monist called artificial chatter to confuse people or make them think God or aliens are talking to them. This part often gets linked to real historical research, like the CIA's Project Stargate, their psychic spying program, and MKUltra, which we'll get into, plus alleged Soviet and Chinese experiments.
Okay, manipulating beliefs, projecting illusions, broadcasting thoughts. What's the final stage? How does it all wrap up?
Stage 4 is the endgame, a simulated apocalypse and global unification. It starts with a staged alien invasion in major cities.
A fake invasion. Why?
To provoke panic and possibly a global nuclear response. The idea is this would frighten nations into disarming themselves completely, handing power to maybe the United Nations after this false attack is supposedly repelled.
Yeah, and
Then, for Christians specifically, the theory describes a false rapture, a kind of staged divine intervention, maybe by supposedly benevolent aliens saving the good people, which would conveniently remove any remaining opposition.
removing opposition.
And finally, a mix of electronic and supposedly supernatural phenomena, thinking materializing ghosts or poltergeists, maybe through microchips or other tech, would push everyone to total despair, making them accept a single centralized world government as the only solution.
It's an incredibly elaborate, multi-layered conspiracy. Now let's ground this a bit. Holographic technology is key to stage 2. We see it in movies all the time, but what's the reality? How does holography actually work?
Right, it's not just movie magic anymore. Holography is basically a very advanced form of photography. Instead of just capturing a flat 2D picture, it records the light field scattered by an object.
The light field.
Yeah, basically all the light rays bouncing off it in different directions.
Oh.
Then it reconstructs that light field, creating a three-dimensional image that seems to float in space. You can look at it from different angles, walk around it. It looks real, no special glasses needed.
So it is a real depth and parallax, not just a trick of perspective.
Exactly. True 3D. The basic principle involves a laser beam. It gets split in two. One part lights up the object. The other part, called the reference beam, goes directly onto the recording medium, like a special photographic plate.
Okay.
Where the light scattered from the object and the reference beam meet, they create an incredibly complex interference pattern. That pattern gets recorded. Later, when you shine the right kind of light, usually another laser, back through that recorded pattern, it diffracts the light in just the right way to recreate the original 3D light field. Boom, you see the object.
That sounds complicated, but makes sense. Are there newer ways to do it?
Oh, yeah. There's electroholography, which uses electronic displays to create the holograms without photographic plates.
Right.
And things like rotating mirror systems that use high-speed video projectors to create 360-degree views.
So beyond potentially faking alien invasions, what are the actual real-world uses today? Where are we seeing this technology?
It's popping up in a lot of places. In entertainment and promotion, definitely. You see holograms used in marketing displays, showing off products, and famously, in concerts for performers who are no longer with us, like Michael Jackson, or even living artists like Suga from BTS projecting himself during his tour.
Right, the concert holograms. Pretty convincing sometimes. What about medicine?
Huge potential there. Creating full-color 3D holograms of patients' organs from scans like CT or MRI data. Surgeons can study these before an operation, plan their approach. It's incredible for training and complex procedures. There's also digital holographic microscopy for looking at living cells in 3D deep inside tissue without damaging them.
Wow, okay. That's genuinely game-changing for doctors. And communications. Are we getting those Star Wars holocalls yet?
We're getting closer. The telecom industry is working hard on holographic video calling. Back in 2017, Verizon and KT actually did the world's first live international holographic call.
No way. Really?
Yep. And companies like Portal are making these human-sized booths. You can stand in one, and your hologram gets projected into another booth somewhere else, and you can interact in real time, see, hear, talk.
So that sci-fi trope is basically becoming reality. Any other surprising applications?
Loads. There are these cool fan-type displays with spinning LEDs that create floating 3D images. Things like the Hyper-V's wall make big HD images. There are light field displays like HoloPlayer 1 that send out dozens of different views of a scene at once. There's even something called Hologram, which uses clever 2D projection and motion sensors to give a 3D illusion without needing headsets.
Fascinating.
And yeah, the military uses it for things like studying 3D terrain maps. Plus, there's huge potential for holographic data storage, storing massive amounts of data in the volume of a crystal, not just on the surface, and maybe even faster data mining.
Okay, so the big takeaway here, the aha moment, is that the actual technology to create really convincing 3D projections is absolutely real. It's advancing fast. It's not fiction.
Not at all.
It's just that the alleged use of it for some grand global deception, like Project Bluebeam, that's the part that remains firmly in the realm of unproven conspiracy theory. The tools exist, but the plot is speculation.
Precisely. The building blocks are real, but the supposed construction project is theoretical at best.
Okay, let's shift gears again. This next topic is maybe even more unsettling because it has such a documented dark history. Mind control. It wasn't just a Cold War movie plot. Real efforts were made.
That's absolutely right. During the Cold War, there was intense paranoia, especially in the West, about alleged Soviet and Chinese brainwashing techniques, maybe used on prisoners of war. This fear drove intelligence agencies, particularly the CIA, to start their own secret experiment.
Trying to figure out if mind control was possible and how to do it themselves.
Essentially, yes. And how to defend against it. CIA Director Alan Dulles even made this chilling comment in 1953, lamenting that the Soviets had human guinea pigs for their techniques, while implying the West didn't yet.
Which led directly to M-Culture, didn't it? This notorious CIA program. What were they actually trying to achieve?
M-Culture ran officially from 1953 to 1973. It was huge. Over 80 universities, research foundations, even prisons and hospitals were involved in more than 150 sub-projects. The stated aims were things like finding a truth serum, developing ways to manipulate people's behavior, disrupting memory, discrediting enemies. Basically finding ways to control the human mind.
And the methods.
Yeah.
They were horrific, right? Often used on people who had no idea they were part of an experiment.
Truly horrific and profound violations of human rights. They experimented with dosing people, often unwitting citizens, soldiers, even patients, with LSD and other powerful psychoactive drugs. They used hypnosis, sensory deprivation, which we know is a form of torture electroshock.
And wasn't there one specific psychiatrist whose work was particularly infamous? Cameron.
Yes, Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron. He ran MKultra Subproject 68 at McGill University in Montreal. He developed these techniques he called psychic driving and depatterning.
Those names alone sound awful. What do they involve?
Psychic driving involved forcing patients, often just people seeking help from mild anxiety or depression, to listen to looped audio messages for hours and hours a day, sometimes for weeks, even while sedated, trying to erase their personality and implant new ideas.
Unbelievable. And depatterning.
That was even more brutal. He'd induce prolonged sleep using barbiturates for days or weeks, then administer massive doses of electroconvulsive therapy, far beyond any therapeutic level, multiple times a day, often combined with more drugs. The goal was to completely wipe the slate clean, destroy existing mental patterns.
The results must have been devastating for the victims.
Absolutely catastrophic, often permanent. Patients suffered massive memory loss, couldn't recognize family, lost languages, basic skills. Their personalities were shattered. People like Bob Logie or Harvey Weinstein's father, who was also treated by Cameron, suffered lifelong consequences. Cameron's methods essentially destroyed people.
And did MKultra even succeed in its goals? Did they achieve mind control?
No. Ultimately, these crude, brutal methods failed. They didn't create controllable agents or reliable truth serums. They mostly just inflicted immense suffering and destroyed minds. The program was shut down abruptly in 1973, partly due to scandals emerging, and the CIA director ordered most of the records destroyed. So we likely don't even know the full extent of it.
A truly dark chapter. Okay, so that was the past. Let's pivot to the present. We hear a lot about brain-computer interfaces, BCIs now. How does this modern tech compare? Are the goals potentially similar, even if the methods are different?
BCIs are a completely different beast technologically. They're devices, often involving electrodes placed on the scalp or even implanted in the brain, that create a direct communication pathway. They can read brain activity, interpreting signals to control computers or prosthetic limbs, but they can also write to the brain, using neuronal stimulation to modify brain activity.
So much more precise than the blunt instruments of MKultra.
Infinitely more precise. And they hold enormous therapeutic promise, which is crucial to state.
Right, we see amazing stories about that.
Absolutely. Controlling robotic arms with thought, helping stroke patients recover movement, restoring communication for people who are locked in. Elon Musk's Neuralink implant, letting a paralyzed patient play chess online just by thinking? That's incredible progress.
It really is.
Yeah.
But you mentioned they can also write to the brain. That's where the potential for misuse comes in, echoing those older fears.
Exactly. The technology itself isn't inherently bad, but its capabilities raise questions. For instance, BCIs are getting better and better at decoding what someone is seeing or hearing, even reconstructing images of faces someone is looking at directly from their brain activity.
Decoding thoughts, essentially.
Getting closer. They can also detect emotional states, cognitive load, attention levels. There were those reports a few years ago about schools in China allegedly using BCI headbands to monitor student concentration. While framed as educational, that capability reading internal mental states without consent feels uncomfortably close to MKultra's goal of extracting information.
And what about the other side? Controlling behavior, another MKultra aim.
BCIs can stimulate brain regions to alter mood or behavior. We see this sometimes as a side effect in deep brain stimulation, DBS, used for Parkinson's or epilepsy. There was a documented case where DBS activation caused a patient to suddenly try and break into a parked car totally out of character, and the behavior stopped instantly when the stimulation was turned off.
Wow. So the potential for influence is definitely there.
It shows that direct stimulation can induce complex behaviors, and it reminds you of MKultra's interest in using brain stimulation for remote control behavior. They did early tests on animals, and declassified documents for Subproject 119 explicitly mention aiming for activation of human behavior by remote means in people.
And today's BCIs are far more advanced, subtle, and potentially concealable than anything they had back then.
Massively so. Back then, the tech was clunky. Now you have implants like Neuralink designed for full integration within the skull, communicating wirelessly. That wireless capability, in theory, lends itself much more readily to remote influence or control should someone wish to pursue that.
Which brings us to the crucial question. Just because the technology is becoming more powerful, does that mean it will be used maliciously? Is there still an official interest in these kinds of mind control applications?
That is the million-dollar question. And disturbingly, there's evidence suggesting that interest hasn't entirely disappeared. In 2008, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, commissioned a review of neurotechnology specifically for future warfighting applications.
What kind of applications?
The committee was asked some really chilling questions, things like, can cognitive states and intentions of persons of interest be read? Can cognitive states and intentions be controlled? How can we disrupt the enemy's motivation to fight? And even, is there a way to make the enemy obey our commands?
Obey our commands. That sounds exactly like the original goals of MKUltra, just phrased in modern military jargon.
It's a striking resemblance, isn't it? The ambition seems persistent, even as the tools evolve. And it wasn't just the DIA. In 2011, DARPA funded research into the neuropsychology of narrative.
Narratives,
Yeah.
like stories.
Exactly, trying to understand, model, and disrupt narratives on a neurological level, and exploring ways to induce powerful narrative phenomena with certainty, using things like transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS. Basically, weaponizing stories by manipulating brain responses to them.
That's deeply unsettling.
And then you have the systematic use of BCI wearables in places like those Chinese schools, decoding cognitive states on a large scale. Critics see that as potentially a precursor to even greater infringements on mental privacy.
So it really does seem like history might be rhyming, if not repeating, which leads us to a final, maybe provocative thought for you, our listeners, to chew on.
Yeah, the potential threat of any technology isn't just about the tech itself, is it? It's also heavily influenced by the political climate it exists in.
And where are we now politically?
Well, after the relative calm following the Cold War, we've definitely entered a period of much higher geopolitical tension. The U.S. administration itself declared the post-Cold War era is definitively over back in 2022. There's talk of a resurgence of bloc confrontation.
So the dangerous ingredients might be coming together again.
That's the warning. A climate of intense international rivalry, similar in some ways to the Cold War, combined with the availability of new, powerful technologies for potentially interfering with the human brain. We might not be able to count on technological limits stopping efforts at mind control this time around.
A sobering thought indeed. But hopefully one that encourages all of us to stay informed and think critically about these powerful advancements and the world we live in. We've covered a lot today. HAARP science and conspiracies, the wild theories of Project Bluebeam, the reality of holograms, and the dark past and potential future of mind control.
We really hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights, helping to separate fact from fiction, or at least understand where the lines blur on these really complex and often misunderstood topics. Keep questioning, keep learning.
Absolutely. And as you continue your own journey of discovery, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the All Sorts podcast on YouTube. Your support truly does ignite our quest for knowledge, helping us transform curiosity into clarity, one deep dive at a time.
To everyone who's already part of our community, a massive thank you. You really are the stars guiding our exploration.
Couldn't have said it better. For more mind-expanding conversations, do explore our other podcasts and follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads. Until next time, stay curious and keep diving deep.